How's everybody doing today? I certainly hope you're doing well. It's time for another edition of Story Time. This is not a true story. This is a story that I created. And, this one really didn't take that long. This one took about a day to figure out all the little parts of the story to just make everything fit right. So, the name of this story is called Holy Water. So let's go ahead and start, shall we? It's going to be a long winder. I practiced it about 4 times now, and it's still, every time is a little bit over 40 minutes. So if you're not into long winders, you know what to do, right? So here we go. There was a gentleman by the name of Randy, and he had a girlfriend. Her name was Jennifer. Jennifer worked as a nurse at the hospital, and Randy worked in the financial sector of life, where he had to, of course, dress up in a nice shirt and tie and blazer and slacks. He could never wear blue jeans, absolutely not, because when you're representing millions of dollars and sometimes billions of dollars, you have to look absolutely professional all of the time. So, Randy and Jennifer, they'd been together for years. And even though they weren't married, they did have property in both of their names. They also had bank accounts and vehicles in both of their names, insurance, that sort of stuff. And they decided as a unit that they're going to get married. They're going to tie the knot. That's what they did. They invited their parents, and they invited their friends, and they invited co-workers and all that sort of stuff. And they had a great time. They sure did. The rice was thrown. They went on their honeymoon, and it's official. They're now married. So, after they came back from their honeymoon and such, they just went back to their lives, what they were doing prior to getting married in the first place. But they've known each other for years, so they know each other's idiosyncrasies. They know their bad habits and good habits, what makes them happy and sad and all that stuff. Okay? So it wasn't like a new thing. They just wanted to finalize the deal, if you get my meaning. So it was a Monday morning. Randy goes to work, just like he did every other day. It's kind of a slow day. So a couple of his co-workers ask him if he'd like to go to lunch with them. Oh yeah, absolutely. It's kind of slow. So they're all walking downtown, and they're looking at different restaurants, and they're looking at Mexican. No, I don't want Mexican. And some people are like, no, I don't want sandwiches. Let's go to a sit-down place. We got enough time. And plus, it's slow after all, right? So they find a Japanese restaurant. Some of them there sitting around with the chopsticks trying to work them. They can't work them, so they got to, pull out the fork because they're not really used to that sort of culture, right? So they're hoo-hoo and ha-ha and having a good time at lunch. Randy's still kind of nursing his lunch, though. But he told the rest of them, hey, if you guys want to go back, I'll take care of the tip. I'll pay for everybody's lunch today. And they're like, hey, thanks a lot. You know how it is. So the rest of the people, they get up and leave, and they go back to work. So he lays down the tip to the table, goes over to the cash register. He pays for everybody's meal, just like he said he was going to. He started walking out the door, and coming towards him is a man on crutches. Okay? Of course, he opened the door right up, so I just breeze on through, and the man said, no, I'm not coming inside. He goes, oh, I thought you were. So Randy starts walking out, and the man on crutches, he stops him, and he says, excuse me, mister. I don't mean to be rude, but I just wanted to tell you that I've seen you around, and it's the ambiance of your charisma that attracts me to you. And you work in that building way over there. I don't know what you do, sir, and I don't want you to think I'm stalking you. He goes, but... and Randy's thinking, BS alert! The guy's going to scam me. He's going to try to scam me. He's going to try to sell me something. He's going to ask for money. That's what he's thinking in the back of his head, right? So this man on crutches says, Mister, what's your name? And Randy's getting a little bit skeptical now. He's like, well, what's your name? And the guy on crutches says, well, my name is Bob. Well, he said it in such a way, Randy felt a little bit guilty. Plus, after all, the guy's on crutches. So he says, my name's Randy. And Randy reached out with his hand to shake his hand. They both shook hands and such. He goes, what can I do for you? He goes, Randy, can I ask you a question, sir? Right? Sure, absolutely. He goes, are you religious? Randy said, you know what? My father always told me that I'm not supposed to talk about religion and politics to a perfect stranger. But seeing under the circumstances, I will tell you, I'm not really religious, okay? It's not like I go to church every Sunday. It's not like I pray every night. But I'm spiritual, if that makes sense. Why do you ask? Bob reached in his top pocket and he pulled out this little vial of holy water. He said, Randy, do you know what this is? And again, Randy's got this thing in the back of his brain saying that he's about ready to get scammed or who knows what. He goes, it looks like a vial with some liquid in it. And Bob says, no, Randy, this is holy water. And this holy water will absolutely cure any ailment on the outside of the body or the inside of the body. But there are rules, there are laws that go with this that cannot be abused. Do you understand? And of course, Randy is like, yeah, okay, all right. Now, how much is it going to be? He goes, Randy said, let's just cut to the chase. How much do you want for your holy water? He says, this holy water is $1,000. Randy starts busting out laughing, like uncontrollably. He's like, no. He goes, first of all, Bob, I don't have $1,000 to give you, okay? That's right out the gate. It's not like I run around with $1,000 cash on me every single day. It doesn't work like that. So Bob says, now hang on a second. Hang on. I'm willing to sell you this holy water for $100. And the only reason why is because it's the ambiance of your charisma that tells me you really are a good guy. Randy's like, sure, okay, yeah. So Randy's getting a little perturbed right now because he really does need to go back to work, but it is kind of slow, so it's not a big rush. He doesn't want to really be rude to the guy. After all, he is on crutches, but at the same time, he doesn't want to get scammed either, right? So Randy says to him, okay, Bob, you said that there's rules, there's laws or something. Tell me the rules and laws, but do it quickly because I got to get my happy ass back to work. And Bob says, the first thing you must do before application of this holy water, either on the outside of the body or the inside of the body, is you must hold the vial or whatever container it's in close to the body and say that you believe. The second thing you must do is you must say a prayer prior to applying it to the body or inside the body. And Randy's like, okay. So Randy reached in his front pocket there. He pulled out a crispy $100 bill. He says, I'll tell you what, Bob, it looks like you need $100. So take the $100. I'm going to take the holy water. I got the rules and the laws that go and that are associated with the holy water. I got it. Okay? You got the money. I got this. But what if it doesn't work, Bob? Do I get my money back? And Bob says to him, absolutely. He goes, really? This is like a money back guarantee? He goes, absolutely. So Randy asks Bob for his cell phone number. So he keys in his telephone number, right? And he hits send just to see if it's going to ring, right? Sure enough, it does ring. Right there. Bob's like, hey, okay, now you got my number. Randy's pretty impressed. He was kind of impressed because he was thinking, hell, he could have given anybody's number. But he did indeed give him his, right? So Randy said to Bob, listen, I got to go. I got to get back to work, and thank you very much. I'll call you and let you know either way. So Randy goes back to work. Randy gets off about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, late afternoon. And here it is about 4:45. And he gets thinking about this. Holy water. He gets up, he goes to the bathroom, and he's looking underneath the stalls, making sure nobody else was in there because they didn't want anybody to catch him talking to himself, talking about he believes, right? See, Randy had a big old cyst on the back of his neck there. Now, this cyst wasn't painful. It was like a ganglion cyst. It was annoying, okay? He was going to get it taken care of, but he really doesn't like needles and going under a knife and all that kind of stuff. And then he'd have to take off work, and then the expense and follow-ups. He wasn't into it. So he was thinking, well, if this stuff really does work, it was worth $100. So he takes the vial, and he remembers there's rules, there's laws before pre-application, right? He takes the vial, he holds it close to himself, and he says, I believe. And he sets the vial down on the counter there. He's facing the mirror. He gets down on his knees, and Lord, will you? And he says his prayer, whatever his prayer is, because a prayer is personal, right? So he takes the vial, and he opens up the top of it, and takes, like a paper towel there, tips it like that, he puts it on his cyst. Then he figures, well, maybe that's not enough. He tips it again, and the hell with it. He takes his collar back, and he's looking in the mirror, and he just pours a whole vial on that cyst. He doesn't even wipe it off, right? Goes back to his office, grabs his things, goes home for the day. About 15 minutes later, after he gets home, his wife Jennifer comes home too. They have their small talk, how was your day, that sort of thing, kiss each other and whatnot. And then Randy gets to thinking, you know what? He's thinking to himself, I wonder if that cyst is still there. And he reaches back, it's gone, buddy. Randy's like, no way. No way. So he goes into the bathroom, takes his tie off, takes his shirt off, takes off his t-shirt, he's looking, grabs one of his wife's hair, one of her hair mirrors, right? He's looking in the reflection. He's doing an entire examination of himself to see if that cyst went somewhere else. He's looking up underneath his arm. He's looking at his torso. He takes, he's just standing there in his birthday suit. I mean, he's looking everywhere. That cyst is gone, buddy. Oh, yeah. Totally gone. His wife walks in. Oh, what in the hell are you doing? He's standing there in his birthday suit looking in the mirror and such, right? And he goes, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. She goes, try me. So he told her the whole story, and she's like, sure. She doesn't believe a lick of it, right? He goes, baby, do you see the cyst there? She's like, no, I don't see it there. Oh, come on, you went under general anesthesia. You got that all taken care of and such. He goes, no, baby, it happened exactly like I told you. I swear, I'm not kidding. She's like, oh, okay, all right, I'll humor you, but I agree, it is gone. I've seen that it's gone. I don't see anywhere else, but, I mean, the story is preposterous. You have to admit, Randy, quit it already, right? She goes, don't tell anybody else that, because they're just not going to believe it. I mean, I don't even believe it, but they'll think you're nuts, and you might lose your job, or whatever, right? So anyway, later that night, they're, watching TV, whatever they do, and then finally they go to bed, both of them, right? And he's laying there, and he's kind of thinking to himself about Bob, about how he met this perfect stranger. He looks over to his wife, and she's gone, buddy. She's down for the count. Because, come on, guys, we know damn good and well there's two things that rule a woman's life, and that's chocolate and sleep, right? You could have the best sex that you can give, but it's kind of like this, like sex, chocolate, chocolate wins. Or you could have like sex, sleep, sex, weighing things out, sleep wins. Every time, right? She is gone, but yeah. So he's just thinking to himself about how incredible this all came about. Good thing he had his telephone number, because as soon as he gets to work tomorrow, when he has a little time, he's going to call up Bob and thank him, because he's really thankful that really did work. So he finally goes to sleep, and he gets up early in the morning, and off to work he goes, and he gets a break. It's about lunchtime, and he calls up Bob, and ring, 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 ring. Bob answers the phone. Hey, how you doing? He goes, Bob, you know what? I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart. He goes, this stuff was great. It worked right away. This was the best thing. The cyst is gone. He goes, now I know you said it was $1,000, and if you want, I can bring you $900 or write you a check or something. And Bob's like, no, we agreed on 100, and that's just the way it is. But you just keep me in mind in the future if you ever need something else, right? He goes, absolutely. He goes, man, I just want to thank you. I just really wanted to thank you. So as life was going on for both Jennifer and Randy, things were going great. They really were. Weeks went by, months went by. Then it was a Tuesday early morning at about 9:30 in the morning, and Randy gets a call, an emergency call, because Jennifer, his wife, has been admitted to the hospital there. She's in ICU. It's an emergency. He needs to come right away. So he tells his secretary and all his staff that works for him and says, listen, don't call me, don't text me, don't do nothing. I got to go to the hospital. There's been an emergency. I'll get back with you, right? He races off to the hospital there. He identifies himself as the husband of course, Jennifer there, and they're making him sign the paperwork, insurance, the garbage, the drill, right? And the nurses bring him around. He can't go into ICU, but he can look through the window, and she's just got all this crap hooked up to all the machines, and it's just horrible, right? So the doctor comes out, and he says, Randy, here, listen, I need to talk to you in a side room here. So he turns on the light bar there, and he puts up her x-rays, and he's trying to explain to Randy what is wrong with his wife, Jennifer. He says, and he's got a pen here, he's like, okay, what you're seeing here is Jennifer is in the final stages of malignant lung cancer. Randy's like, bullshit. That's impossible. Jennifer has never smoked a cigarette in all her life. I know this for a fact. I've known her for years and years and years. She doesn't smoke. She's never smoked. And he goes, well, you don't necessarily have to smoke to get lung cancer. It's happened thousands upon thousands of times. But I'm telling you, listen, this woman is in the final stages of lung cancer, and that's all there is to it. I mean, we've done the test, and, the way it looks right now, we're 90% sure that's the case. He goes, but we're going to know in a couple of days to be absolutely positive. So Randy looks over to him and says, okay, if that's the case, when you say final stages, you're saying she's going to die. He goes, yes, sir, she's going to die. And he's like, well, how long does she have to live? She has about 30 days. She ain't going to make it past 30 days. She'll be lucky to make it 30 days. And all we can do to suggest to you, Randy, is that she's comfortable, that she doesn't go to work. She's going to have oxygen 24/7. And you know what? The nurses will hook you up and make arrangements so you can, do that. He goes, you can consider hospice. It's absolutely not. I'm not doing a hospice. If she's going to die anywhere, she's going to die at home. He's like, that's entirely up to you. But we're going to have to keep her for several days and do all these tests, and we'll have a final answer here soon. But we're pretty sure that that's the case. I was like, he's just out of his mind, right? So the doctor says you can stay here if you want, but we recommend that you just go home because, again, she's going to be here for days. You can't talk to her. You can't go in there and see her or hold her hand or nothing. He goes, and we're not going to know anything until a couple of days anyway. So it's best you just get some rest, sir. So Randy does. Randy goes home. And hell, it's late afternoon by now. It's about 3 o'clock. Randy goes home. He is so tired, and he goes into his house there, and he goes into the bathroom and loosens up his tie, and he goes to make a call into his work and just tell him I'm not going to be in for the rest of the week. And he's going through and he gets to thinking, wait a minute, Bob. I got Bob's number. Bob can sell me a bunch of this holy water and save her life. Absolutely. He doesn't even call his work. He calls Bob. Ring, 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 ring. Bob doesn't answer the phone. He's like, oh man. He's like, oh, this is crazy. I mean, he calls him again. Ring, 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 ring. Doesn't answer the phone. He figures, okay, I'll just leave him a message. He calls him again. He says, Bob, how you doing? You know, I don't know if you remember me, but, you know, my name is Randy, and, you know, you gave me some holy water and got this cyst, and he just kind of explained to him. He said, you know, there's been an emergency, and my wife, she's got, like, lung cancer, and I need to buy some more holy water from you, and I don't care how much it costs, and whatever amount you think would help cure her lung cancer, right? So, about 20 minutes later, phone rings. Who's on the other side? Bob. Bob's like, you know what? I have plenty of the holy water, and I figure she's going to need about 5 vials in order to cure that. He goes, man, I don't care what it costs. Can I meet you somewhere? I mean, can we meet at the Japanese restaurant where we first met? I need to get that. Tell me how much you need. He goes, well, it's going to cost you $5,000 because it's $1,000 per vial. He's like, not a problem. I'll have the money. You want a cash? You want, you know, money order? You want check? You want cashier's check? What do you want? He goes, whatever you want to give me. Cash is always good, but if you want to do it another way, that's entirely up to you. So they agreed to meet at the Japanese restaurant in which they first met. So he walks in the door, Randy walks in the door, and Bob is sitting at the table already. And Bob is still on his crutches. Hell, it's been months, but he's still on his crutches. Bob is also wearing some very thick sunglasses. Oh yeah. It's kind of strange inside of a restaurant, but Randy doesn't want to be rude. After all, he's got to get that holy water. And so Randy looks over to him and says, did you bring the holy water? He goes, well, of course I did. And he pulls out a jar, not a vial this time, because there's quite a bit in there now. He pulls out a jar. It's like a jam jar or jelly jar, right? About that size. It's not quite halfway full. And he's holding it up. He says, now, listen, Randy, I wanted to tell you again that there are rules, there are laws before the application of this holy water. And I need to tell you again, the first thing that you must do, or they must do, is hold the water close to the body and say, I believe. And then they must say a prayer. And then apply it to the body or in the body. He goes, I know, I remember from last time. And my wife actually saw it, so she's going to understand what she has to do because we've already been through this. He goes, now, it's really possible that this may not do the trick, but I have another bottle. He pulls out, Bob there, he pulls out another bottle, so he has 2 bottles now. He's like, one should do it, but if it doesn't, you call me, and I'll provide you with this other one. So he goes ahead and gives him $5,000 for the one bottle of the holy water. And they have a little bit of small talk, and they're about ready to leave and such. And they didn't eat or anything, just had water and maybe a couple little snacks and such. And Randy says to him, listen, I will call you and let you know whether or not this is going to be enough, you know. So Randy walks out the door and he takes his stuff home, and a couple of days later he gets a call from the hospital, and the doctor says, it is a fact. We are 100% certain that she's in the late stages of malignant lung cancer. She is not going to see after 30 days. No way, impossible. she'll be lucky if she makes it 3 weeks. And we're just telling you the truth, okay? You will be able to pick her up today if you so wish, right? So he races over and picks up his wife, and he's got all the oxygen stuff all set up. He's got the home arrangement set up. He's contacted his work and said he's going to take, the whole month off, okay, so he can take care of his wife. So she is so heartbroken over what's going on. And of course the doctors had told her what's happening. But you got to remember, the woman was sedated, and she was in ICU, and it was just horrible, right? But once all of that medication, for the most part, wore off, Randy had a long talk with her. They both sat down and they said, they were just talking about the way things are and the way things are going to be. And Jennifer just starts sobbing, man, uncontrollably, crying like it's just awful. You know what I mean? I mean, I can't stand it when ladies cry. I mean, it just hurts my heart, right? And he's like, listen, baby, there's a way out of this. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And she's wearing the mask, And he's like, listen, remember that time I had the cyst and I told you about that and you didn't believe me? He reached in his pocket there and he grabbed this jar of this holy water, not quite half full. He goes, this is the holy water, and I bought it for you today so that way we can cure you. And she's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, this isn't funny. I mean, this isn't a game. She's getting kind of angry, but she's emotional at the same time. He's like, no, baby, I'm telling you, listen, I just spent $5,000. Listen, this is going to work. It will work, but there are rules. There's laws to this. I mean, the first thing you got to do is you got to hold it close to your body, and then you got to say you believe, and then you got to make a prayer, and then you apply it to the body, and I'm telling you, it's going to work, baby. It's going to work. You got to trust me, right? She's like, and she is, I'm telling you, she is crying. She's so emotional. She's just shaking and sobbing. I mean, it's just awful, right? He's like, baby, listen. We've known each other for years, okay? This is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you the jar. You're going to hold it, and you're just going to hold it close to your body, and you're going to say you believe, okay? And then both of us, both you and me, are going to make a prayer. And then I'm going to take the holy water. I'm going to bring it over to the stove, all right? I'm going to pour it. I'm going to bring it to a boil. So as the mist rises, we'll put a towel over your head. You'll breathe in the mist. I'm telling you, baby, it's going to work. It's going to work. She's like, okay. So she still has the mask on there, and he hands her the jar, and she's just shaking, and she's like, I believe. He's like, baby, say it a little bit louder so everybody can hear you. She holds it to her face, and she's just crying. She's sobbing. She's like, I believe. And then they set the jar down, and they said, come on, baby, let's go ahead and pray, all right? Just you and me. And they both get on their knees there in the dining area, and they're both got their hands up like this, and they make their prayer. He's like, okay, baby, you just hang on. It brings it to a boil, and it starts steaming. He brings the pot over, right, lays it out on the table there, and she takes off the oxygen mask, and he puts the towel over her head. She's breathing the best she can breathe, and she's still crying and sobbing. You know how it is, right? And she breathes it all in as much as she can breathe in, right? So he removes the towel, he takes the pot, brings it back to the stove, brings it to a boil again because he wants to make as much can go in her lungs as possible with this holy water. So she does it again, and so finally she puts the oxygen mask back on, and they just sit there and wait, and Randy's just holding her, trying to give her all the support. She's still kind of crying, sobbing, and what have you. And about an hour goes by, and she starts to think she's not crying anymore. She's like, I'm starting to feel better. I mean, I feel like I can breathe. I don't feel like And then she takes the mask off and she goes, I mean, I'm really feeling better. I mean, I feel like I can talk and I don't have to strain to breathe. I mean, I'm feeling good. I mean, truly I'm feeling good. And Randy's like, are you sure, baby? Are you positive? I mean, you know, we don't want this to be a false alarm. Are you positive? She's like, no. And she stands up. She walks around the house. She goes, no, I'm feeling better. She goes, if this cancer is gone, it will be a true miracle. It will be. And if I feel as good as I do right now, tomorrow morning, I'm going to make a call to the doctor's office, and I'm going to have them do the x-rays and the whole 9 yards, okay? Because I'm telling you, I feel great. I mean, I feel like I could jog. I feel like I could run around the house. I'm feeling better. And of course, Randy's very cautious. You know, he doesn't want to, you know, celebrate just yet because they don't have the x-rays just yet. You know what I'm saying? So he's cautious, but he's happy for her. And he's happy because he's not going to lose his wife to death, right? So they both go to sleep, and then early in the morning, about 8 o'clock, they both wake up. 9 o'clock, she gets on the phone. Well, she worked at the hospital, so instead of playing all this referral games, and she's got to weigh in to get in there right away. So she calls him up, and she says, listen, suddenly I'm feeling better. She didn't dare tell him why. She goes, I'm feeling really good. I mean, I can talk, I can breathe, and I'd like to come in and get the x-rays. I'd like to do that today. I mean, today. I need to know right now, right? So they schedule her right in. Randy brings her over there to the hospital. They get her right in there, right? And he talks to the doctor. He goes, how long are these tests going to take in that to take x-rays and so on? He goes, well, we're kind of busy today, but we are going to be able to squeeze her in. It's going to be at least 5 hours. So you just might as well just go home or whatever. You can wait if you want. And so he asked Jennifer, do you want me to stay here? She goes, no, just pick me up. I'll call you. I'll call you with the news as soon as I get it. So he leaves, right? And he gets to thinking, Bob has saved my wife's life. That's what he's thinking, right? Bob has done it again. I have got to contact Bob. I have to contact him, right? He calls up Bob. Ring, ring. Bob answers the phone right away. He's like, Bob. Yes? He goes, I wanted to tell you, listen, it looks like it's going to work. She's feeling great. She went in there to get x-rays or whatever she's doing. And listen, I wanted to thank you so much. I just wanted to thank you so much. He goes, but just in case she needs maybe a little bit more help to make sure it really works forever, would it be all right if I bought that other jar from you? He goes, absolutely. He goes, but you know something? Instead of selling it to you, I'm just going to give it to you. He goes, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, Randy, it's the ambiance of your charisma. You know, I just always liked you, and I knew you were a good man, and you're a good man, and I'd just like to give it to you, if I could. He goes, are you serious? He's like, I'm serious. He goes, I tell you what, why don't we meet at the Japanese restaurant that we first met, and I'll just give it to you. He's like, all right, I'll be right there, but I gotta be back and pick up my wife in a couple hours. She's at the hospital. They're gonna look at the x-rays, and she's feeling better, and it looks like it really worked. He goes, of course it worked. So he races off. They meet at the Japanese restaurant again, and he walks in the door, right? He walks in the door of the Japanese restaurant, and there's Bob. He's sitting at the table already. He's still on his crutches, and Randy can't understand this, man, because it's been months, man. He should be off those crutches by now, right? Randy's sitting there. He's got these really thick sunglasses on. I mean, it's like really thick. And, you know, Randy didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to be rude. After all, you know, Bob's going to give him some more of this holy water for the future, and he doesn't even know why. He's going to give it to him. He's not going to sell it to him, right? So he goes, hey Bob, how you doing? Oh, I just want to thank you so much. You've saved my wife's life, and oh, this is, it looks like she's cured, and, just any minute now, within a couple hours, we're going to know for sure, but she's feeling better, and God, I just want to thank you so much. And he goes, is there something I can give you for this holy water? He goes, absolutely not. It's a gift. It's because of the ambiance of your charisma. Because, Randy, I knew you're a good man. And I just want to give it to you. And the reason why I just want to give it to you is because I myself am going to die in 7 days. And that's all there is to it. Those are facts. And Randy's like, what are you talking about? And Bob says, well, I have leukemia. And, the prognosis is 7 days. That's it. And I'm just glad that I was alive to be able to help your wife live through the holy water. And Randy is like, he's blown away, because here he has good news in his life, in his personal life, that his wife is going to live, but the man who facilitated her to live is now going to die. He just sat there kind of quiet. He goes, but you know what? It's yours. So he takes out this little jar of holy water. It's about a little bit more than half full. He goes, in the future that you ever need some sort of assistance or to save yet another life, it's yours. I don't want anything for it. And Randy is like, man, I'm so glad that I met you, because not only my cyst and my wife, and I don't even know what to say about your death. I mean, what can I say? He goes, I don't know what to say. Then Bob says to him, with the things that I do, it takes a lot of personal responsibility. Now, let me ask you a question, Randy. When you applied the holy water to your cyst, where do you think your cyst went? And Randy goes, I don't know. All I know, it was gone, and I was very appreciative that it was gone. He goes, well, let me show you so you understand. And Bob moves his collar back like this, and he goes, see that? Randy looks over and he goes, oh my God. He goes, yeah, your cyst was transferred from you to me. He goes, how do you think I got leukemia? That's right. Because a woman that had 3 children, she was young, she was only in her late 30s. She had 3 children to raise by herself. Without her, where would the children be? So I gave her some holy water to inject into her veins. Where do you think the transfer occurred from her to me? He goes, my foot. This is why I'm still on crutches. Because a professional runner got in a car accident and he was going to be crippled the rest of his life. And again, with the holy water, saved him from being crippled. It transferred over to me. And then Bob took his glasses and he brought them down just about like this, where Randy could see his eyes, and his eyes were gray. And he goes, and what is this? This is glaucoma. Another person that was going to go blind, that was only 18 or 19 years of age, had a very rare condition. Again, they were given the holy water. Now I have the glaucoma. And chances are I have malignant lung cancer right now. So there's a lot of personal responsibility that comes with this holy water. Randy is like, wow, because that's deep, buddy. That's some deep stuff right there, right? He's like, well, wait a minute. Bob, why don't you take the holy water that you gave to me and I'll just give it to you. And you can cure yourself. And Bob looked at him real sternly and says, there are rules, there are laws that must not be broken under any circumstances. And Randy's like, well, what? And then Bob got really loud. He's like, no, there are laws. And Randy said, oh, stop it. Laws are broken every day of the week. People break rules all the time. They break rules at the hospital. They break rules in finance. Look at the people breaking the laws. Look at the prisons. They're all full. That's from people breaking the rules, breaking the laws. And Bob took his hand, he slammed it on the table, and he goes, there are rules, there are laws that must not be broken. End of story. Randy kind of shut his mouth because, after all, this guy did save his wife's life. You can't be arguing with a man that just saved your wife's life. So he shut his mouth. So Randy said, you know what, let me just pay for everything we got going here. They just had snacks, no dinner or anything, something to drink. And he gets up and he goes to the cashier and he pays for everything. He lays the tip down on the table. And he gets a call. Ring, ring. It's his wife. He answers the phone. She's like, baby, you ain't going to believe it. They did the x-rays again and there's not one bit of cancer anywhere. It's a miracle. And he's just as happy as can be, but he can't seem too happy because now Bob here is going to die in 7 days of leukemia. Plus he has all these other ailments wrong, right, with him. So he's got to kind of keep his composure, and he's like, okay, baby, I'll be there in a couple of hours to pick you up, okay? Because I'm down here, I'm meeting with Bob. So Randy hangs up the phone and he says to Bob, he goes, listen, I know you got 7 days, but there's got to be something I can do for you. Maybe I can buy you a plane ticket to go see your family, or maybe I can, I don't know what it is I can do for you. Maybe I can take you somewhere, drive you somewhere. I mean, there's got to be something I can do for you. Bob says to him, there's nothing you can do for me. So he's like, well, can I at least give you a ride home? And Bob said, yeah, you can give me a ride home. I'd appreciate that. So they both go to stand up, and Bob collapsed. Boom, right on the ground. Oh, my God. The restaurant's like, they're looking around. Oh, should we call 911? And Randy's thinking, no, I'll take care of this. So Randy gets down and he lifts this man up, and he's not a small man, but he ain't a big man either, but he's kind of struggling with him. He lifts him up and he puts him in his car. Randy has an idea. He sure does. Because he knows, listen, laws are broken every day. People bend rules all the time. He's going to try his best to save Bob. Oh, yeah. So he races Bob to his own house, to Jennifer and his house, right? He lays him down on the bed there. Well, he's got that jar of holy water that Bob gave him. And he's going to try his best to save Bob's life. So what's he do? He gets to thinking, now hold on a second. Bob is not awake. Bob can't talk. He's not coherent. Okay, I'm going to have to help him along. I'm just going to have to help him along. So he lays him down and he thinks, okay, what to do? Okay. He grabs the jar and he takes the jar and he places it in Bob's hand. And he brings it close to Bob's body. And he says for Bob, I believe. Then he puts the jar down and he takes his fingers and he takes Bob's fingers and he makes them to like this, and he makes a prayer for Bob, even though Bob's not coherent at all, right? Then he gets to thinking, okay, well, seeing that Jennifer was a nurse, he's got to find a hypodermic needle, which is not going to be that big of a deal, right? So he starts racing through his wife's things, and he does find a hypodermic needle, and he puts it in the holy water there, and he shoots it up like this a little bit to make sure it comes out so you don't get any air pockets in, and he finds a vein on Bob's hand, and he injects it, and he puts the holy water in there, right? Then he takes a little bit of it, and he pours it on his ankle where it hurt the leg there. Then he opens up Bob's eyes, and he's putting in the holy water in this eye, and he's putting the holy water in this eye, right? But he's got to get it into his lungs. How's he going to do that? And he's kind of being cautious with how much he uses for everything. Then he takes a little bit, a couple of spoonfuls, and puts it on his cyst up here, right? Then he's like pressure cooker. He races in. He puts the rest of the holy water in the pressure cooker. Then he takes his wife's oxygen mask with the little tube, and he affixes it to the pressure cooker. So as the steam starts to rise, he places the mask on Bob's face, and he can see that indeed Bob is breathing, and breathing this mist into his lungs, even though he's not coherent, he's not conscious. This goes on for about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. And suddenly, Bob opens his eyes, and his eyes are turning blue now. And then suddenly, Randy is not feeling so good. Randy is starting to feel kind of dizzy, and he's having a hard time seeing, and he races into the bathroom there, not aware that Bob is now awake, right? Bob is starting to feel better. He's coming to life. And as Bob looks around, he's freaking out because he doesn't know where he's at. The last place he knew was he was in the restaurant. Now suddenly he's in a bed in somebody's house, and sure the hell ain't his. He doesn't know what to do. So he takes his mask off, and he feels pretty good, and he stands up on both feet, and he notices his leg is fine, his ankle is just fine, and he hears this noise, this horrific noise, like somebody is getting sick, like vomiting in the toilet. I mean, it's disgusting. It's horrific noise. So again, Bob doesn't know where the hell he's at. He walks down the hall a little bit there, and he turns to the left, and oh my God, he sees Randy. And he's by the toilet, and he's just constantly throwing up. And Bob finally figures out what's happened here. Randy has broken the rules. Yeah, you sure did, right? So Bob looks to Randy and says, Randy, I told you that there are rules. There are laws that must not be broken. And Randy is so sick. And he kind of turns his head a little bit to look up at Bob, and he can't see. And you can imagine why. He goes, I thought I was doing the right thing. And Bob looked at him and said, well, you were dead wrong. I'm Montagraph, and if you can't speak freely, you're simply not free. Have a good one.